Hey, what's going on, you guys? Mitchell Lene here. Just want to put out a video and give you guys an update on what's been going on with us.
Yeah.
So, gonna get into it. There's a couple things we want to talk to you guys about today. First and foremost, we just want to thank everybody for prayers.
Yes.
Anybody that prayed for us after the crash, that heard the video, heard the song. We just want to say we really appreciate it. All the prayers, we really, really need it and appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, very grateful for that. So, a couple of things we want to talk about today. It's been a little bit over a month since we had that crash. Feels like yesterday. To me personally, it feels like it hasn't been that long.
Some days it does, some days it doesn't. Yeah. All depends on the day. Yeah.
So, little quick thing here. We actually, after the crash, we had spent 11 days at a hotel because the truck, they had to take it to a shop to get, it's gonna.
Actually, we were stuck in that area because it snowed every day.
Just about every day.
Every day we were
with
stuck.
No let up. And even when there was a couple of days where it did stop, and then it just kept snowing. Just kept snowing.
So 11 days we were just stuck.
Yeah. Couldn't really go anywhere. Couldn't really do much. And that area that we were at definitely got hit with a lot of snow.
Yeah.
So, and we were stuck there,
11 days. Yeah.
11 days at that hotel, couldn't leave. It was bad snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like piled high, very high.
So, something interesting, I had a dash cam inside the truck at the time of the accident. And I remember when the whole crash had happened, I tried to take the dash cam off and just to kind of see, did it capture anything? And for some reason, it didn't show up. I don't know why. Still to this day, I don't know why. And but interestingly enough, when we got the dash cam back to the hotel, you actually took out the memory card and you put it in
I took out the memory card. Something I just kind of felt like, okay, there's no way we bought this dash cam and it didn't work, right?
I was frustrated.
He was very frustrated.
We spent money on this thing, it didn't work, it didn't capture anything. I was so over it.
So I decided to take the memory card out. I put it in the iPad, and I had saw that there was 300 files from that day. So I'm going through each video, and I'm like, this thing caught us just loading. We just stopped. I said, there's no way it caught us stopped and didn't catch this impact. And I'm just scrolling and scrolling. All of a sudden, like we said, we fasted that day. So I went to the time frame of around the time of the fast. And as I got closer and closer, I started seeing us drive. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder, did it catch it? And then I just happened to click on that video and just happened to see it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was just in tears. Because I was able to kind of see it from, I guess, another vantage point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing, wow, I think seeing that back, it just, because it's like you kind of have that memory, but just to kind of watch it and just relive it, it's like, wow, it's very interesting. And
like I had said in the prior video, at a certain point I had closed my eyes and stuff, so I was able just to kind of see it, just watching it, eyes open and everything now. So yeah, that was like probably a couple of days after everything happened.
Yeah,
so that was interesting.
Yeah. I think another thing that was interesting too is that when I had first got the dash cam, I had scrolled through the settings, and it asked you, do you want the audio enabled? And I remember I had put no, because I didn't necessarily feel like the audio would be that important as long as it caught the video footage of whatever it was, Not thinking that we would ever get into a crash in the truck, but I know sometimes, like for example, if a car pulls ahead and then they pull too far ahead and maybe they just back up a little bit, but then maybe they hit the front of my truck, they can say, okay, well, this guy, this truck driver rear-ended me, but I would have dash cam to prove it, so I wouldn't necessarily need audio for that. And stuff like that has happened to people in the past, so I just disabled it. And when we had watched that video back, the footage when we saw the crash.
Yeah, I was in tears, and I had asked Mitchell. I said, it would be crazy if we were able to hear. And I said, does this dash cam record audio? And he said, yeah, I disabled it. And I was just so happy that it was disabled. And just a couple of days ago, we put our dash cam in our car, and I was going through the settings and stuff like that, and I had saw the fact that he set it to disabled, and I would say for a couple hours, I was just having flashbacks of the accident and just thinking like what it would have been like to watch the footage, but also hear, what he was saying, how I reacted, and just hear, the impact and stuff. And I was like pretty queasy for hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the thought of not only seeing, but hearing, Yeah. So
I think to me personally, watching it is enough.
Yeah.
I would say if we was to hear how me and Nate panicked right before we made impact, I think that would have really been something to me.
Yeah.
To hear that.
Yeah.
And if I had to be honest, I'm glad that.
Yeah, I'm glad he disabled it, because I had no idea our dash cam allowed that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that we didn't have to hear. It's traumatizing enough to watch it, but I think to hear and see, it's yeah. So.
And that's another thing too. We kind of wanted to touch on that. And I wrote down, me and Nate together, we wrote down a bunch of points in our phone of things that we just wanted to talk about, related to the crash and after it. And one of the things is that, how it really changed our outlook on life. I guess I'll start. So one thing that I can say, there's a minister that we love and enjoy listening to. And one of the things that he would say consistently from the pulpit is how, we as people, we're very fragile. And, life is short. You never know where death is. And so it definitely gave me a much, much greater appreciation for life, In fact, just even watching our coverage on the news, because it was headlines, national headlines. So to see our truck in the news, to see the footage of everything that happened, and but how algorithms are, y'all, on YouTube. When you look something up, you see a lot of other things come up that are very similar. And we've even watched stories about how people were involved in pileups just like us, but they didn't make it.
Yeah.
And that's hard. When you see like, wow, that person didn't survive. And so I think to be alive, definitely gave me a great appreciation, and it let me know life is truly short, truly short. And, I would say even from like, okay, I'll give you guys this, when we were stuck for 11 days at the hotel, there was, on some occasions where we had to take an Uber. And I noticed for me that I was paranoid.
Yeah.
I had a lot of paranoia that I was dealing with.
I would say especially being in a car, because the accident happened in a truck, but I would say for me personally, I feel a little bit more paranoid now that we ride in our car a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were doing the Ubers, because wow, it's one thing to take an impact in a truck, but when you see footage of how cars take impacts, it's something,
Yeah.
So I think we're both pretty paranoid now being in a car. Yeah.
It's interesting, y'all, because when you see some of this stuff, to see how a car can literally be crushed like a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And how there's people that just don't survive it. There's some by God's grace they make it, but wow, I've been it's been a lot of paranoia.
Yeah.
And not only that, I'm sure if any of you guys are familiar with taking Uber, you know that for every Uber you get into or Lyft, each one of them have different driving habits.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of one of those things where, people drive really fast, taking corners sharp. They follow real closely behind the person in front of them. They slam the brakes at the last second. And it's things like that.
Yeah. That
was really, really like, I kind of found myself in a mode where, I was sitting in the back seat with Nay, and every time we would come to a red light, I found myself just, just kind of turning back just to see, like, man, I hope nobody rear ends us, because it's just, I'm paranoid, and it's something that I was dealing with. And it's tough, you just don't feel safe no more. You don't feel safe in a car. In a truck is one thing, There's advantages to being in a big semi truck. There's a lot more sheet metal around you. You're at a higher height, and but from a car perspective, it's like we were telling somebody over the phone that what makes a truck safe actually makes it that much more dangerous for a car. So being in a car is interesting. I mean, we've been doing a lot of driving lately in our car, driving around town, running errands, doing things that we need to do, and I feel a little bit better now. I'll say that.
I would say I still feel it.
Do you?
Yeah. Like somebody could pull out and I'm just like, so yeah, I'm a little bit more paranoid in the car.
Because that's the other thing too, is you can't control other people's driving habits. So
that day we couldn't control what was up ahead. So I think that made me realize that it doesn't matter how safe you try to be. You don't know what's up ahead. You don't know what other people around you are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that definitely has me paranoid. So
yeah. I think the other thing, let me see, do you have anything as far as like how it changed your outlook on life?
I would agree with what you said.
Yeah.
That I would say the first couple of days, something I realized, I'm like, wow, God allowed us to survive and he wasn't done with us, So I think that realization, because like we're always taught, like everything happens, by God's permission. And if God wants you out of here, he'll take you out of here, and he didn't take us out. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'll say another thing too, y'all, that I don't know if we touched on this on the first video or not, but some of the things that me and Nate both dealt with, I remember within those 11 days after the crash, we didn't really get much sleep.
No.
At all.
Our sleep, those first 11 days, our sleep was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I would say maybe 2-3 hours. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah,
we were
here
really
and there,
sleeping.
little naps here and there, and I remember laying in bed and just having just a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah, same here.
And you kind of snap out of that, and everything's okay.
Yeah.
And then I think not only was I having a lot of flashbacks of the crash, but a lot of times what will come to my mind, while I'm trying to sleep is just other things that could have happened, that didn't happen. It's almost like, kind of like, what if this happened? What if it played out like this? What if it played out like that? And then I would have times where I would just deal with like, man, what if Nate didn't make it and I was here? What would I do? How would I process that? How would I deal with that? And it was rough. I would definitely say, wow, I would say for the first week or two.
Yeah, we were very, very tired. And we would try to take naps. So we would nap for like an hour or two because we weren't really sleeping much at night. So it was just, our sleep schedule was terrible. Yeah, it really was. Yeah, that was difficult.
Yeah, kind of one of them things you just gotta get disease when you can get them in.
Yeah, that's literally how it happened.
Wow.
If we could fall asleep for just an hour, we just did it, and then we wake up, and it was rough.
I would say mentally and emotionally too. It's like I said, it's up and down.
Yeah.
I had a lot of mixed emotions. If I could be honest, I had a lot of mixed emotions. Like, for example, I'm so happy to be alive, but at the same time, I know I don't deserve to be alive. So it's like it's a lot of that mixed back and forth. And I definitely had to pray. I had to pray to ask God to help me stay strong and positive. Because a lot of times when you go through something traumatic, depending upon how bad it is, and it could weigh. It could be a lot of weight.
Yeah,
definitely. So I'm grateful that God has blessed me to stay positive. And
I feel like our sleep is a little bit better now.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I feel like even randomly now, like I think a couple of nights ago, I was sleeping and he woke me up and just told me, I'm thankful you're alive, or you said something to that effect. Mm-hmm. So even once in a while now, things like that will happen, but yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely, that's true. Yeah, I've definitely been doing that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just wake me up and, I love you.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you're here. You know, I'm happy to see you. So, because sometimes that hits me. I'm like, man, what if she didn't make it? You know, and then vice versa for you.
Yeah. We've been together for a long time. So I think when, I think this year will be 22 years since we were 13. So, when you grow up with somebody like that and then you just realize like, wow, they could have been gone.
Yeah.
It's something.
Yeah. Yeah, because we met, wow, y'all, we met when she was 13 and I was 14.
Yeah.
And
so
it wasn't too long after that we got together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's been a long time. So
Very long time.
I think to grow up like that with somebody and then just literally they're not here as something to think about, y'all.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful. Yeah, I'm grateful to be alive, truly.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to touch on too. A couple of things here. And I know listen, y'all, we haven't put music out in a little bit.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about that. Did you want to touch on that first? Like
yeah,
what music has been like lately for us?
Yeah, transparency. So it hasn't. And I've had to get on myself about this. And I would say I got on myself really hard when we were in the hotel because I realized how I felt. And I said, man, I wrote Sing Through My Struggles. And I don't feel like singing right now. And I felt like a hypocrite. Because I said I wrote that song and I believe what I wrote. But the creativity wasn't flowing, didn't really feel like singing. We just had so much going on. That event was really traumatic. And just events that happened since then have been life-changing. So, music hasn't been flowing. I mean, we did the one song, Safe With You. And to be really honest, I had to really push myself just to sing that because we did that maybe like 3 days after.
Mm-hmm.
More Like You, that was actually recorded the day before the accident. So, and I put that out way after because everything, we were just so busy with everything. And I realized I had that song sitting there. So, we haven't done any music in about a month and a couple weeks. And, I haven't sang in about a month or so. If I have, it's been just very, very light singing or humming, but we haven't worked on anything. Haven't really spoken about music much. Yeah, so it definitely challenges your creativity. Yeah.
And I'll say same here, y'all. I mean, me personally, I haven't been music minded at all.
He hasn't even really played his guitar a whole lot. He used to play his guitar every day for like 2 hours.
I haven't played it a whole lot. I would say yesterday I picked it up, got a chance to play, and I was singing a song that I really love, y'all. A song came out not too long ago. And who knows, maybe, I want to get better at that song and play it more. But I got a chance to do that for a little bit, and it felt good. It felt good to get the guitar out and sing and praise God and play it. I miss it, But in terms of like actually writing a song, working on music, creating some sort of an instrumental, and just kind of having just being in music mode per se, I haven't. I haven't since the crash. I haven't really had a desire really to do music much. It affected me. And like I told Nate, I think we had this conversation yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I said, who knows? Maybe in the near future I'll get back in it. I think right now, just with everything that just has happened recently, my mind is in a different space, y'all. And it's not anything against music or anything like that. I just think that my mind is more.
You have a lot going on.
It's a lot going on, and just really trying to focus on what's most important right now, So who knows? Lord willing, we'll see. Because I was actually telling Nate, I said I do eventually want to get back into music, but right now my mind has been gone from music, really. I mean, we've listened to songs here and there, but other than that, I haven't really been in that mode.
I think the reason why is because every single song on our channel, we literally make from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Between me singing, him singing if he does, the instrumental, him playing guitar, like the instrumentals that are heard behind what I sing, we're making them from scratch. So when we were on the truck, it was a lot of long days, a lot of hard work that goes into making music,
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of creativity, a lot of discussing, what's going to be here and there and, things like that. So it's not like, you just sing, you just put a song out. It's a lot of work. And when you have a life change that happens, I guess it could kind of sometimes rob that creativity because being creative sometimes is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It
takes a lot of, it puts your brain to work.
Yeah. And there's a certain, I know for me, there's a certain mental space I like to be when I'm singing. And I guess my mind has been so, consumed with a lot of what we have going on. So I think it'd be a little bit hard for me to tap into that place that I'm used to being in. So I've had to pray about just kind of getting back to that place of singing and stuff like that. Because, we love it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just, a little bit of a down for the past month or so. So yeah, pray for us, y'all. Yeah, pray for us in the music department. Another thing I want to say to y'all, when it comes to fasting, for those of you that know, if you watch the video and stuff like that, you know that right before the crash happened, we literally started our fast. Yeah, and I just want to say something that obviously, you fast, you kind of know what time you fast and stuff like that. When I saw the dash cam footage, it let me know what time, and we made impact about 8 minutes after I started my fast. So that's crazy, Even that blew my mind. I'm like, wow. I knew it was about less than 10 minutes or so, but just to see the exact time, I was like, wow. Yeah. Yeah, and if I had to be honest, y'all, wow. I mean, even fasting for me, my outlook, not on my outlook on fasting per se. I'm not gonna say that, but I would say, going into a fast, I was paranoid, because I said, man, we actually ended up doing another one a couple of weeks ago, and I think I remember I told Mitch, I said, I want to fast, so we agreed to do it together. I said, but I'm nervous because all I know now. It's interesting because, ever since being in holiness, we've been fasting, 8 years so? And it's interesting how the one time that we fast and we get into an accident, it's like my brain associates fasting and accident. Yeah. So now it's like, never mind the 8 years that I had and we didn't get into an accident, everything was fine. It's like now when I fast, I just think, I hope nothing's up ahead, Yeah, I was a bit nervous. Yeah, but we went for it anyway. Yeah, we went for it. And I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. And I was thinking to myself, I said, I was hesitant, and there's a couple ways to look at that, right? It's like, okay, well, of course there will be discouragement there, to fast, because why wouldn't there be? If that's something that, we do for our spiritual growth and development, but I'm hesitant of doing, or maybe I just don't want to do it because of past experience, it's only going to hurt me over time, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of have to push past that fear, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And, that's not, that was the first time something like that has ever happened after a fast, but I can recall many times in the past, y'all, and they can bear witness, for some reason, it just seemed like whenever we would fast, something that day doesn't go according, and I started to catch this trend. I said, man, why? And it's not 100% of the time. I can't say that. It was just never nothing like that. Yeah, but sometimes it just be real silly stuff that, just, annoying, but yeah. So now it's like, I was nervous and I said, wow. And I, sometimes, you could second guess, like, man, should I really do it? You know what I mean? And, it hasn't been the same, it hasn't been the same, but Lord willing, y'all keep us in prayer, because I definitely want to get back to where I was, in that area of fasting, because I was really, 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 it's interesting, y'all, because I was like really, really, really trying to buckle down hard. When I say hard, I mean buckle down hard, and really, really trying to pursue God spiritually. And so to have something like that happen, it's like, it was a very hard blow, you know what I'm saying? Because it knocked me
it knocked me down. I ain't gonna lie, it knocked me down a little bit. So it's a lot. It's a lot of different things
Yeah,
that we
and
kind of experience.
and even after 11 days, when we were finally able to make it out of that city, we went to go to the truck because we had a lot of our belongings there and stuff. And that was our first time seeing the truck. You know, because, you know, obviously you have everything that happens. We know the damage that we saw. But
and even a little background on that, because when the whole crash happened, they were trying to rescue people, you know, because it was, I mean, it was so, when I say it was bitterly cold, I mean, like I couldn't feel my feet under me, and I kept just trying to jump up and down outside on the highway just to get some blood flowing because I was so cold. And so there was actually really nice lady, really sweet lady, sheriff. She was a sheriff deputy, and she actually gave me and Nate a ride back to the crash site
because they took us to a school to stay warm.
To stay warm.
She, you know, we were like, we have some of our belongings, like we're truck drivers, we have some of our belongings, can we grab, you know, a few things? And she took us to the truck, to the crash site, and we were able to grab a couple of things,
yeah,
but
we
not
couldn't
everything.
grab everything because she didn't have the space in the sheriff SUV, the patrol car, and we just had too much stuff, y'all, in the truck. So we literally just had to grab essentials.
Yeah.
And everything else we just had to keep in there.
So after 11 days, we went to go to where they towed it, and we were able to not only grab our stuff, but actually see it. And I was like, wow. I think to see it in more of a calmer atmosphere, which is inside of a shop, I was like, wow, it took a lot of damage. Like way more than like what we saw was the broken windshield. His window was blown out. I knew his side was damaged, but I actually had a lot of damage to my side. And I didn't even realize it. And our whole front was just gone, you know, and cracked, and yeah, it looked pretty bad.
Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah. And wow.
And I just stood there. I just thank God for just allowing us to make it out of that, because, you know, yeah.
And then I managed to climb in the truck, and y'all, that's the thing too. I had to be so careful because it was still broken glass everywhere. So climbing into the truck, even that was a little bit of a struggle because the staircase was destroyed, and it, you know, you kind of really had to be careful getting in there.
It was like a whole different truck. Like I was telling somebody, like I'm a very neat person, and I kept the truck just so pristine, and it was just crazy just to see it just look like chaos. And I'm like, this is not the same truck that I remember being in, you know, like a tornado hit in there.
Yeah, I literally
just
looked
dark and just like a mess. You know,
it literally looked like a hurricane just came through inside that truck and just rearranged just everything.
It's like a completely different truck than what we knew. So that was interesting. I think we spent about an hour there, and
And I remember, y'all, it's interesting because when I got into the truck, you know, obviously there's some of our belongings, and I had to throw, food that was sitting in there that went bad. Wow, I mean, I had to get rid of so much, and just trying to pick up belongings that we had, and some of the stuff that we had was broken. I remember stepping on one of my neckties, you know, for church, and you know, this particular necktie, I definitely remember wearing it quite a bit, and just seeing it on the ground, you know, I had to, you know, I had glass shards all in it, and I wasn't gonna salvage it, you know, I wasn't gonna take it and wash it, and I just had to get rid of it. But it just brought back a lot, you know, like, wow, I remember, you know, wearing this tie, you know, I remember this, I remember that, I remember, wow, you know. So it's interesting. It didn't really hit me like I thought it would, because we were on a little bit of a time constraint, you know, that shop, because they had to tow it to a shop where it's going to spend extended time there. They got to get extensive work done to that truck, because it seems like they are able to salvage it, but it's going to be a long time for that truck is up and running. So we just have to get our belongings out what we could, and you know, just keep moving, you know. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. And I think something else too is that when we were driving towards getting the truck, we had to drive a couple hours. We actually had passed the truck stop. You know, being a truck driver, well, at least how we drove, you work about 6 days and have a day off, like 34 hours. So that particular weekend, we were at a truck stop, we had our day off. And then that Monday was when the accident happened, and we actually drove past the truck stop that we were at for that weekend. And I told Mitchell, I said, wow, it's crazy, because when we were here, who would have ever thought we would be driving back through here and had just came out of an accident? And I think the interesting thing was that particular weekend we had recorded that testimony video, but I also recorded I recorded my part to more like you. And I would have never thought, so that was really interesting.
Yeah. Something I forgot to mention, y'all, this is something else that I dealt with. Nay knows. And, when we were staying at that hotel for 11 days, thank God, y'all. I'm so grateful to God because we were stuck at that hotel for 11 days, the winter, the snow was so bad and it was constantly coming down. And, but we were situated literally right next to a Walmart, like we shared a parking lot. And so I was able to go each day and just walk in there, and I was able to get, some few things for us to eat for that time being. Each day, I would make a trip. And I actually had a moment where I was walking through the aisles and sadness hit me, out of nowhere. And I just started crying. And I just wanted to hide, y'all. Like, I just wanted to hide. And I just didn't want nobody to see my face. I just didn't want to be around nobody. I just kept trying to find somewhere I can go where I just isolated in the store. And it hit me. I'm saying, wow. Because I guess when you're so grateful to be alive, and it's like, especially I think about Nate a lot, y'all, like so much. And I'm like, wow, I'm so happy that she's here, and grateful. So it's like I feel happy, but at the same time I feel sad because I know what the outcome could have been, So that's something else that I forgot to mention that I dealt with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So the other thing too is that, something that our pastor have taught us many times, and me and Nick could definitely bear witness to this, is that...
I know what you're going to say, but what?
No, it's like in holiness, when you come into holiness, you're going to experience things that you never experienced in life before. Yes. And I can bear witness of it too. That was not a lie. No. That's true.
No, yeah. Yeah, we've experienced some things that we have never experienced before. And it's interesting because we wanted to actually mention that point in that testimony video about us getting fired for, declining that load. But we completely forgot to say that because we were like, obviously in holiness, that was a decision that we made, and we had never, we never got fired for denying a load because of what we believe, but we failed to mention that. But yeah, who would have ever thought a couple of days later, a day later, we get into an accident. And he's been truck driver for 14 years, driving in snowy conditions, and never had anything like that happen. And I just thought it was so interesting how that happened. Yeah.
Even that has changed for me, y'all. Like, I used to be so comfortable driving in snow, and now it's like if I see it's about to start snowing or I say, I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm staying right here. Because, y'all, honestly, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it, And it's amazing because I remember when we were, I can remember back so many times driving, through certain states in the winter, and then remember, right, you see just tractor trailers, just flying past us. And, they call guys like that super truckers, you know what I'm saying? And I would just stay in my right lane and just, just taking my time, and, and people would just flying past, and, man, you go a little bit down the road and you see somebody laying on their side, and it's terrible.
It's just been really interesting, the type of things that we've experienced personally since being in holiness. Yeah. Definitely. So definitely tries your faith quite a bit. But
so another thing that I want to say, if anybody's wondering, we're not on the road anymore, y'all. We're not on the road.
Our background obviously still looks different.
You guys are used to seeing us with the truck, sitting in the cab of the truck, but we're not on the road anymore.
Yeah, that accident has changed everything. Changed our life.
Changed our life.
Rearranged a lot.
A
whole lot.
Yeah.
A lot of confusion, a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of things that, and I probably won't get into this video, but it's a lot of confusion. Things that I felt like was really unfair. Sorting through that somewhat. But yeah, so here we are, not on the road anymore. And I would say if we could even touch on that, like, with the month, it's been a little over a month of not being on the road, and even what that has been like for us, because something that we got to remember, y'all, I mean, me and Nate have been doing this for about 8 years, and
you've been driving trucks for 14, but we've been on the road for 8.
Yeah, just living full time on the road for 8 years, and wow, that was life for us. We literally lived full time 8 years on the road.
And I would definitely say something that, like I said, we said this in a couple of videos ago, that holiness came into our life a month after. So it's been, working on the road in church, and truly what has been our life and what we have really enjoyed is traveling for church, while working, of course. And unfortunately that has changed or is changing right now for a season. So not happy about that. But
it's bittersweet, y'all. I mean, one thing I can say, the sweet thing that I can say is that I feel like I've definitely been able to catch up on much needed rest. Right.
We needed it.
Because if anybody knows anything about trucking, I know we have some brothers and sisters in the faith that they're truck drivers. So, hey, listen, if that's you know exactly what I'm saying. 12, 14-hour days, 6 days a week, you only get a 34-hour reset. And, so wow, I mean, I was tired. And sometimes you just spend a lot of weeks running on fumes, you know what I mean? And so I've actually had a chance within the past month to take naps throughout the day. And it's been a blessing.
Especially because our sleep has been so off at night. So we try to nap when we can, if we can.
Yeah.
So it is bittersweet, but...
It's bittersweet. I would say the bitter part of it...
We have a temple a couple hours away that we're going to be trying to make it to when we are able to. But I would say the part that I'm not happy about is, I really have loved traveling for church. And when I say traveling for church, it's not so much a local temple, but just like the meetings and the conventions, and that has literally been our life for like 8 years. And we have loved it. So,
and that's another thing too, y'all. It's like something I noticed that me and Nate have gotten a lot. Sometimes when we meet new people, it's like, oh, we see you guys on the telecast, and wow, you guys were here. And it's like, I mean, there was a season I felt like, there's so many cities, so many states that we went to, for meetings and conventions.
It was the beauty of trucking. It's like trucking could take you so many places. So we just, while we're working, we were going to church. And just loved every minute of it. And
And now it's like it all came to an abrupt stop. For this season.
Hopefully for just this season.
And Lord willing, if everything goes according, I'm hoping and praying that we'll be able to get back to it. But I mean, wow. I mean, that's definitely the bitter part. Because now it's, that's one thing that me and Nate could say from the 8 years that we've been in holiness, because we came in 2018. So we never missed a convocation since we came in. And this would be the very first year after the crash, because of our circumstance, unfortunately, that we'll be having to watch it on the screen,
I was telling Mitch,
it's weird.
I said, unless things turn around, it's going to be weird. Because I'm not used to that. I'm used to being at convocations, being at, most meetings. And if we're not at a meeting, we're usually at a local temple somewhere. We'll pop up at temples just all over and have been able to meet so many different people and listen to different ministers. And we've loved it, So I think just to watch, I mean, it's still a blessing, because I remember there was a time where we didn't have live streams as much. But it's going to feel weird.
I remember you said that. Yeah, I remember Nate one time said, and this was, several years ago, and this was prior to us having, like Tuesday, Thursday, where they kind of live stream. Yeah, prior to COVID. Yeah. And I remember Nate said, I hope one day we get a chance to like live stream, that'd be nice, because with us being on the road, we actually had to be out on the road for several weeks before we got time off. So, man, when that
then COVID hit, and then PJ made the decision to have more and more live streams, and now it's normal. People that are coming that are new, it's normal to them, but it was never like that before. So I am grateful for that, but I want to be there though.
And I think
so it's gonna be weird, and I hope it's not something that lasts too long. So
something I could sympathize with too, and this is something, y'all, that came to my mind, because I know sometimes you may hear brothers and sisters that may live in certain regions where they don't have a temple. And, sometimes, whether it's something financial, whether it's just, maybe, because I know depending on people's jobs, you have to get time off approved and those kind of things. But not everybody's always able to make it to conventions for whatever reason. I think it kind of, now I get to see it through that lens, like what that's like, because for us, it was never really an excuse. We always had the privilege and the opportunity to just freely go to all these meetings and conventions.
It was a priority. I mean, it literally has been our life just to make it to church, and like I said, we're blessed to be able to make it to a local temple that's a couple hours away, but man, to miss a convention or miss some of the regional conventions that just started, and I'm not happy about that. So, something that has been, and I told Mitchell this earlier, that has been blowing my mind. A couple of nights ago, I was watching our testimony video, and I'm just watching it and stuff, and something that just kept blowing my mind. I was watching, and I said, "Wow, we're just sitting here, we're just having casual conversation, just talking about our testimony." I said, "But God knew the next day we were going to get into that accident," and it just kept popping in my mind like that, and I'm just like, "Wow," like it just kept hitting my mind like that. I was telling you that earlier, and it's and I know that God knows all things, like we know that we're taught that, but for some reason, just realizing that, just watching that video, I said, wow, God knew. Well, with all that we were saying, all we were talking about, he knew what was going to happen the next day, but we had no idea, and I recorded More Like You that same weekend, and same here. So now even when I hear the song, I don't even hear it the same, because it's like, wow, the next day, our whole life changed. So yeah, it's just an interesting thing that I realized.
Definitely.
It's like, you could just be living life and don't know what's ahead, but God knows everything, so yeah.
Even, man, I'll be honest with you, I could just point back to so much teaching, that we get, and I'm not gonna get into all that, but it definitely brings back a lot of teaching. Like you never know what can happen, and one thing that sticks out to me that our pastor have said is like, such and such a thing happened to a particular person, and that person had no idea that would be their last day. They had no idea. And wow, I can't even tell you how real that is to me. Like when you go through something like that and you come out of it, it's one of them things, like you see it happen around you, you know it happened, but I think when you experience it for yourself, it like really elevates that meaning in your life,
Yeah. So I would definitely say that song, that video I just see it with a different perspective, because now I'm on the other side where I know what happened the next day, but just to watch us, hear us singing that song, not realizing what was going to happen the next day, or hear us talking and just like, wow, we had no idea, and I don't know why, that keeps blowing my mind every time I think about it. Yeah. Yeah, what PJ says, like, we plan, right?
Yeah. He always says that too. He's like, we plan, and that's the other thing. Let's talk about that too. So y'all, the truck that we crashed, we actually had plans to buy that truck.
Yeah.
We wanted to.
And we had mentioned that very vaguely in the video. We were talking about how we wanted to start a business and, kind of work for ourselves. And we didn't really say a whole lot, but we were planning on buying that truck. And we can't buy the truck no more.
That was our plan, and it's crazy because we weren't too far.
No.
We weren't too far. We plan on buying it, and just having our own business and just being able to operate how we want. Because and I don't want to get too far going into this particular topic, but when you work for somebody, you don't really have as much freedom as you can if you create your own schedule, and that's something that would have been so wonderful, y'all. Just to be able to have our own business and just create the time the way we want it to work for us, and not have to really answer to somebody else or, ask for permission to take time off. It's like we could really control our schedule the way we want it. And that was our plan, and something that our pastor have so many times said in time past is like, we plan and God plans, and God is the best planner.
Yeah.
And it's true, y'all. It's very true. And so I'm like, wow,
yeah, that's definitely playing.
It's interesting how you could have so many plans in life, and you could have things set in motion.
Yeah.
you could have it all figured out, right? And
I
then
think you're so close to achieving it.
and you could
too.
be, I mean, y'all, I'm talking about so close to achieving it
And just in a matter of a couple of minutes, your whole life changed.
in just seconds.
Seconds, yeah.
God can
Seconds.
allow everything to just be rearranged.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why it happened, y'all.
No.
You know, something that me and Nate talk about. Wow, man.
We were actually just talking about it earlier, but we've talked about it a whole lot with the last month, but we just had this conversation a little bit this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? You know, why did this happen?
Did
what does
happen?
God have up ahead? And I know something that I've been praying. I feel like you said this too. Like, we just hope whatever season it is way better than anything we could even imagine. You know, that's what we're hoping for.
And, you know, something I was telling Nate earlier in conversation, because we were riding in the car together and just chatting. And, you know, I said, like, wow, I wonder, did this have to happen?
Yeah,
Depending
you never know.
upon what's ahead, you know, whatever's coming ahead, which I don't know, y'all
Yeah.
pray for us, but whatever's coming ahead, you know, I just...
Because something
did it
that
have to
seems so
happen?
like tragic to us, it can end up being so beautiful, but we don't see it that way because we don't know what's up ahead,
Mhm.
but he does.
Yeah.
You know, but so for us it's traumatic, but it could be something so beautiful a couple weeks from now, a couple months from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
And
That- yeah.
that's where faith comes in, and we've had to have a whole lot of that. Yeah.
So y'all, if y'all wondering, does Mitch still have faith?
Yeah.
I still got faith, y'all.
And I'll say this, and we said it in the testimony video, and I could still say it. There's still peace there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would definitely say. Well, this is funny. We were in the hotel, and I told Mitch, I said, I'm excited about what God's gonna do. He said, well, what did you say? It was funny. I said, I'm excited for whatever God's about to do. And you said, well, what did you say? It was funny.
Probably something along the lines of, you know, you need to pass some of that excitement over
Yeah.
here. I feel it.
Yeah, that's what he said. And that's truly how I have felt. You know, I have my moments where I'm a little bit nervous. I'm kind of wondering, like, you know, I wonder what's going on. But for the most part, I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, I have felt excited. I'm anxious, and yeah, I really do believe that whatever God has in store is going to be way better than what we could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I strongly believe that too.
Yeah, I believe the same thing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's been a good feeling, and it's provided a lot of peace in the midst of confusion and uncertainty.
Uncertainty, yeah. A lot of uncertainty.
Like I said, how our life has completely changed. But within that, just to have peace, just like what we said when we got fired, you know, a couple of years ago, you know, we said that our life changed then too, but we had so much peace, and, you know, we were blessed, you know, and we're still blessed. God has truly blessed us this past month, so he has always blessed us.
Yeah.
Always been there, so yeah.
Yeah, I want to say this. This is interesting because I could take a lot of different things from different areas of life, right? You know, prior to coming into holiness, your brother, I used to love boxing. You know, I used to love watching boxing. It's something that I really, really, really loved a lot. And anybody at all is familiar with the boxing industry and, you know, big name boxers, and, you know, Floyd Mayweather is one of those. And I remember I used to love watching, you know, those fights and stuff like that. And I remember one of the things that Floyd Mayweather would say, and I thought it was very interesting to me. And, you know, whenever he had, you know, I guess the face-off that they do before the actual event takes place, and, you know, they would ask him, like, well, hey, Floyd, how do you feel? And he would say the same thing. And he would always say, he said, I've been here before.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so that's how I feel. You
Yeah.
know, I feel very encouraged, very confident. I have faith. I feel positive. You know, I didn't, mentally, emotionally, I didn't cave in. You know, God blessed me to stay strong.
And we've heard so many messages, ironically, within the past month about faith, and it's been amazing. You know, it's that alignment that you need in a moment like this. And I would tell Mitch, I said, I really needed that, you know, whether it was a live stream on a Tuesday, a Thursday, or something on a Sunday, that's been pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch boxing no more, but I can reach back to that little that bag and you know, use that phrase. You know, we've been here before. Me and Nate been here before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a part of life, y'all. It's a part of the journey, and y'all keep us in prayer.
Yeah.
Keep us in prayer. And we wanted to put this video out just in case anybody was wondering. Listen, we're okay, y'all.
Yeah.
Everything is okay.
And we do appreciate y'all's prayers.
Yeah, we appreciate the prayers.
Yeah.
It's just been a lot going on.
Yeah, we've been really busy the past
Really
month.
busy. Just in the process of figuring life out all over again.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you, y'all, so much for y'all support, your prayers, the comments, and all those things like that. We really appreciate it. Don't take it for granted at all. So, yeah.
Hopefully new music soon. You guys pay for us.
Pray for us.
Please.
Y'all, the music department is hurting, y'all. Pray for us. Well, we see
Bye. The music department.